Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that the power grid has gone down. Not for an hour, not for an afternoon, but for days. Your lights stop working, your refrigerator stops cooling, your internet disappears, gas stations struggle to operate, stores become crowded, and suddenly, something most people rarely think about becomes the most important thing in their lives. Energy. For most of modern history, we've become accustomed to a simple arrangement. We consume energy. Someone else produces it. Someone else transports it. Someone else manages it. All we have to do is pay the bill. But what happens when people begin asking a different question? What if I could produce some of my own energy? What if I could reduce my dependence on outside systems? What if I had more control over one of the most important resources in modern life? This idea is known as energy independence. And despite what many people think, it isn't about disconnecting from society or living alone in the wilderness. It's about resilience. It's about options. And it's becoming increasingly relevant in a world that depends more on electricity than ever before. Today, we're uncovering how energy independence actually works. What is energy independence? When most people hear the phrase energy independence, they imagine a cabin deep in the woods covered in solar panels. But that's only one version of it. In reality, energy independence exists on a spectrum. At one end, you have complete dependence. All energy comes from external providers. If the system fails, you have few alternatives. At the other end, you have complete independence. You generate, store, and manage your own energy. Most people fall somewhere in the middle, and that's where things become interesting. Because energy independence isn't usually about eliminating dependence completely. It's about reducing vulnerability. The hidden truth is that even small increases in self-reliance can create significant advantages. How the current system works to understand energy independence. We first need to understand the system most people already use. Every day, power plants generate electricity. That electricity travels through transmission lines. It moves through substations. Then it reaches homes and businesses. The process seems simple, but behind the scenes, it's one of the most complex systems ever created. Millions of components work together. Thousands of miles of infrastructure must remain operational. Supply and demand must stay balanced every second of every day. Most of the time, it works remarkably well, but because everything is interconnected, disruptions can have widespread effects. Storms, equipment failures, natural disasters, fuel shortages, cyber threats, all of these can affect energy systems. The more dependent people become on centralized infrastructure, the more important reliability becomes. The three pillars of energy independence. Every energy independent system relies on three fundamental components: generation, storage, consumption. Let's break them down. Traditionally, that energy comes from large utility providers, but independent systems can generate power in other ways. Solar panels, wind turbines, microhydro systems, backup generators, emerging technologies. The goal is simple: produce electricity closer to where it's actually used. Storage generation alone isn't enough, because energy isn't always produced when you need it. The sun doesn't shine 24 hours a day. Wind doesn't blow continuously. That's where storage becomes important. Energy storage allows electricity to be saved and used later. Consumption, the final piece, is consumption. How efficiently do you use energy? Many people focus entirely on producing more power, but reducing waste can often be just as valuable. Energy-efficient appliances, LED lighting, improved insulation, smart energy management. All of these reduce overall demand. Most people never thought about where their energy came from. The system worked. Bills were paid. Life continued. But several trends have changed the conversation. Electricity has become more important than ever. Homes contain more devices. Businesses rely heavily on technology. Remote work depends on stable power and internet access. At the same time, people have witnessed major disruptions around the world. Grid failures. The biggest myth about energy independence, one of the biggest misconceptions, is that energy independence is only for survivalists or off-grid enthusiasts. In reality, many people pursuing energy independence remain connected to the grid. Why? Because complete independence isn't always the goal. Flexibility is. Some homeowners install solar systems while remaining connected to utility providers. Others add battery backup systems. Some invest in emergency power solutions. Others simply focus on reducing energy consumption. Energy independence isn't an all-or-nothing decision. It's often a series of small steps that increase resilience over time. The economic side of the story, energy, isn't just a technological issue. It's also a financial one. Every household operates on a budget, and energy costs affect that budget. The ability to generate or manage energy more effectively can potentially reduce long-term expenses. But there's another factor people often overlook: predictability. When individuals become less dependent on external systems, they may gain more control over future costs. That doesn't mean energy independence eliminates expenses. It simply changes the relationship. The focus shifts from pure consumption toward ownership and control. And that's one reason many people find the concept so appealing. What the future may look like: the future of energy may not be completely centralized, and it may not be completely decentralized either. Instead, it may become a hybrid system. Large grids will continue providing power, but local generation will become more common. Energy storage will become more advanced. Smart systems will improve efficiency. Individuals will have more options than previous generations ever had. More people are exploring how home energy systems, backup power solutions, and self-reliance strategies actually work. If you'd like to learn more about these concepts and see how others are approaching energy resilience, I've placed a resource in the description and pinned comment that dives deeper into these ideas. It's a fascinating topic, especially for anyone interested in understanding the future of personal energy. So how does energy independence actually work? It begins with a simple idea: control. Not complete control, not perfect control, but more control than before. By combining energy generation, storage, and efficient consumption, individuals can reduce dependence on external systems and improve resilience. And in a world that relies increasingly on electricity, that capability may become more valuable than ever. The goal isn't necessarily to disconnect from society. The goal is to create options. Because throughout history, resilience has never been about predicting the future. It's been about preparing for uncertainty. If you enjoyed this investigation, subscribe to the Frequency Files as we continue uncovering the hidden systems behind energy, technology, money, and power. And until next time, stay curious.